welcome to another Cemoh. There we go. Straight in the first sentence, and I've screwed it up. Cemoh Marketing Podcast. There we go. My name is Simon Dell. I am the CEO of Cemoh. That's CEMOH.com. We are the largest fractional marketing network in Australia and probably the world. And no one's going to check that, even if we aren't. So let's just say the world. If you want to find out more about us, Cemoh.com, CEMOH.com, or find me on LinkedIn, Simon Dell. I'm very easy to find. We have with us a recurring guest. I would class her now as a recurring guest because she's been on this podcast a number of times. One of our longest serving consultants, freelancers, contractors, whatever you want to call them. Welcome to the show again, Kristy Hunter.
Thank you so much, Simon. Love being here. Excited about today's chat.
First of all, let's tell everyone who don't know who you are, who you are.
Yeah. So my name is Kristy Hunter, and I founded Hunter Marketing Co., which is a marketing strategy and implementation support consultancy. Coming up to 8 years now, I've been running that business. And prior to that, I was, in-house leading teams, in agencies, and I've been across, multiple areas of business in that space. So marketing, branding, advertising, and comms. So that's the really short version.
Cool. I think if anyone knows small to medium-sized business marketing better than you, I don't think there's many people out there who would top you in your knowledge and your experience in that space. Is that fair to say?
Well, that's a big claim. I'll take it though. It's
There you go.
that's an amazing compliment. Thank you. I think that because I've been doing this or have been in the industry for like 25 years now. I've seen a lot and I've experienced a lot, and there's not much that I haven't really seen in the business space, and also what's worked from a marketing and brand perspective as well.
Yeah.
So there's always lots of stories I can tell.
Cool. Well, maybe we'll get to a few of those today. But we're going to talk about specifically, we're going to talk today about this content marketing explosion. And just before we started, you were going to talk about something, an opinion on why this is happening. And just to set the scene, we as a business have had a lot of people, a lot of influx of clients, clients, contacts, whatever it is, looking for that solution, that content marketing solution. It seems to have ramped up. It seems that there are more people looking for it. It may just be that more people are coming to us, but I think you feel the same, and I think you have an opinion as to why that's happening.
Yeah, look, I think AI has definitely played a massive part in that, and the opportunity is huge there. Well, I think a lot of businesses think, oh, this is a huge opportunity for us to become more visible, to put lots and lots more content out there because you can. But that doesn't mean necessarily that you should be pumping it out as much as some people are doing at the moment. So I think also when it comes to marketing and marketing strategy, I think there's a lot of business leaders and CEOs out there. They go, this is an easy thing for us to do. It's, less complicated than, thinking of a full campaign. Like if we're putting out content on a regular basis, surely that's going to help our business.
Yeah. And I think we've probably, we've made a rod for our back, I think, marketers, by saying consistency, consistency trumps creativity. So to your point, I think everyone's then going, oh yes, look, we have to be consistent with content. We have to keep doing this. We have to, it just has to be ongoing. And then subsequently we then get this demand, and we just get this volume of content out there. It just seems like it's never ending, really.
Yes, and it's getting to a point where it's becoming unhelpful.
Yeah.
because for
Yeah.
multiple reasons, what can you believe anymore? Just because, we wrote this blog doesn't necessarily mean it's true. Like, is it backed by, well, firstly, is it backed by strategy, but is it actually accurate? Are you putting out accurate information?
Yeah.
So, and, for me and what I talk to my clients about, it's around high quality, meaningful content that
Mm.
actually is going to be helpful for your ideal client or existing clients.
Yeah. There's a scale problem here. What I think we see with every business is as they themselves grow bigger and they become more sophisticated in their marketing, they feel that that means that they should be doing more marketing. And
Yeah.
I think to your point, this content demand has exploded, but quality hasn't necessarily kept pace. Do you think that's a fair
That's
assessment?
fair. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we're all smart enough to see when AI has written it as well.
Mm,
And so I certainly am very aware of, great content, crap content. A lot
mm,
of the stuff that I'm seeing, particularly on LinkedIn at the moment, is really poor.
yeah.
I got a lovely compliment by a few people the other day at a networking event, and they saw a particular post that I put up, and they're like, "Oh, wow, that was just a really heartfelt piece of content." And I said,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it's because I wrote it. it's 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 human centered."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like look, I think some of us, out there, we can write. And I'd say the
Yeah.
people who feel that they can confidently write, please write it yourself. But I think for those people who wouldn't consider themselves as copywriters or writers, then they're using it as a tool that they're relying on constantly. And I talked about my clients who don't have that skill set necessarily, but I said, if there's mistakes in it,
Mm,
if you're sounding like like that's going to win ultimately, right? Like if you're not getting your
mhm.
punctuation right or whatever, use the words that you would when you're having a conversation, with
Yeah.
people.
Look, okay, I'm gonna throw this one at you because I don't necessarily agree with what you've said there, and
Okay.
I'll
Surprise, surprise.
no, no,
Who's
no.
going to
Well,
have a different
I
opinion on
yeah.
some things that I
Look,
say?
we'll take the AI thing now because I think that is content. I think your point earlier is that there's been a rise of content, which is paralleled with
Because of
this rise of the
AI.
use of
Mm.
AI. Yeah. So some people are going,
Mm-hmm.
hey, fuck, it's easy to make content with AI. Let's go out there and do that. I was reading the article this morning
Yeah.
about someone who's made this TV show, who's made a Love Island version or has made an AI version of Love Island with fruit or something like that. I don't know if you've seen that on
Okay.
TikTok. They're
No.
1 minute episode. I haven't watched an episode yet, but like it's
Okay.
reaching millions, tens of millions of people. It's it's fruit-based Love Island made by AI. And people are going, some people are going there, this is just more of this AI slop. But a lot of people are going, oh my God,
Yeah.
this is so much fun. So
Yeah.
here's my question, because I think there's this horrific gray area at the moment where you can't
Mm.
define whether you're saying if someone's genuinely written something, let's put it on a spectrum, okay? So one end
Okay.
of the spectrum is someone has genuinely written something. At the other end of the spectrum, AI has written it for them. Okay. I did a
Mhm. Mhm.
podcast a couple of weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago, where I
Mhm.
was talking about a lot about marketing and all these kind of things. And I was on it for, I think, about 45 minutes, right? I then took the transcription of that podcast and I gave that transcription to an AI tool. And I said, I think there's some good blogs to be had out of the conversation that I've had using my knowledge and my experience and my background. And can you please turn this into a blog? Now,
Mhm.
we eventually got, I think, 4 blogs out of that podcast. I
Yep.
didn't write a single word of those blogs. The AI did, but all based on
Mhm.
what the AI had interpreted out of my podcast. Now the question then
Yep.
goes,
Okay. So it's
who wrote that blog? who wrote those blogs?
Mm-hmm.
Did I write those blogs, or
Yeah.
did the
So,
AI write those blogs?
well, the AI wrote it, but it based it off your your existing content, your tone of
Yeah.
voice, your point of view, and the topics that you obviously talked about.
So
But I think
is that AI slop? Is that acceptable?
it could be AI slop. I'd have to analyze it. Well, it comes back
What
to
do you?
data,
Yeah.
right? Like I
Yeah.
would always go, right, how well has this piece of content performed? And I'd love to see the stats. So, yeah.
It's funny because largely those things go onto our website and then they're sort of shared within our content platform. Do they go viral? No.
Yeah.
Do they get picked up in search engines? Yes, maybe they do. Do they get 1,000 clicks? No. But again, the thing with us is that potentially they get one click, which then convinces somebody to contact us, and we can't necessarily, necessarily track that. I just think there's a grey area here, and I have these.
But I was just going to say around that though, there's a strategy behind that for you guys, right? Like you have the goal of being shown or being served in the AI summary, right? And
Yeah.
that's part
Yeah.
of your strategy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's helping that goal.
You're still not really convinced me. You still not really told me whether that's AI's written that or I've written that, because again,
I
as you
think
said,
I
it's my
said that AI. That's an AI thing.
but that's my tone of voice.
You're not right. You're not physically writing
No.
it.
But then your point earlier said if you can write it, you should be writing it. But I'm like, I can write it. I just don't want to write it because there's a better way of me getting my I will do that with this blog as well. I will sit there and I will go, sorry, not this blog, this podcast, what we're recording now. I'll take this podcast and I'll sit there and give it to Claude and go, let's create a blog out of this. Make sure that you quote Kristy in the blog, make sure you quote me in it, but let's put a blog together that is that we can share. And again, it boils down to, is that AI?
Yeah, look, I think, yes, it is, but it's taking, it's pulling from a source, which is this, what we're producing here, right? And what we're saying, let's say everything we're saying is really accurate about marketing and content.
Yeah, fair point, yeah.
Yeah. And then it's pulling our, point of view, our discussion points, and pulling that into a blog. And I think if it creates something good that you're running your eyes across and you're happy with it and it's accurate according to you, then that's how it should be. That's how I see AI can be used really well. And by doing that, that's scalable.
So that's an acceptable, we're defining that as an acceptable use of AI in marketing. If you just said to AI, hey, I need a blog on content creation or influencers in 2016, come up with something for me, and it gave you 800 words and you just went, yeah, that looks good. Is that where we perhaps go, okay, well, that's not a legitimate marketing tactic?
Correct. And that is what a lot of people are relying on. And that's what I'm talking about when I was discussing, what's happening on LinkedIn at the moment. People are going, because they're not an expert, right, in that space. And they're relying on ChatGPT or Claude to just create that content for them. And they're going, yeah, that will do. Post it. And that's where I think most people are falling down. Yeah.
It's interesting because for those that have listened in to me in the past know that I write science fiction as well. There we go. There's the book.
Yes.
In case nobody thought that.
Plug.
Plug. But the interesting thing is there's a big kind of, there was a book pulled from the New York bestsellers list the other week or something because there'd been accusations that it had been written by AI. I have long conversations with Claude about the chapters that I write, and Claude never tells me what to write, but Claude tells me when a sentence is good or a sentence is bad. And it's interesting that
Okay.
I find that very, not hard, but I go, so I'll give you one simple example, is that I wrote a sentence that says neither of which looked like they were excited. Okay. So that's
Mm-hmm.
8 words, neither of which looked like they were excited. Claude reads it and goes,
Okay.
no, it should actually be neither of whom. Right. So it's asking me to
Yeah.
correct, it's
Yep.
asking me to correct a grammar mistake. Instead of which, I should be using the
Yep.
word whom. Um,
Yep.
and I go, okay, so is that acceptable in writing to be using? Because an editor would have picked that up. A human editor would have picked that up.
Yes. Correct. Yep. Yep.
And I
I think
go,
that's acceptable.
okay. So all right. So then so that one's acceptable, right? So
Uh-huh.
you sit there and go, let me find another one, because there's a this is a good one here. It was somebody beckoned her down with a wave, nervously flashing a glance towards the ECC door as he did so. Okay. The Claude turns around and says, "You don't need the words as he did so there." He said, "It's unnecessary, cut it out."
Oh
So
yeah.
effectively, the Claude is rewriting the sentence, reducing the sentence by 4 words for me, and saying, "You don't need those words
Yes.
in there. The sentence scans without that." So again, is that the AI tool writing that, or am I writing that?
Well, you've written
It's
it.
I,
It's just
and
telling you to cut it, right? So
sure, and that's where you suddenly get into this horrific area of what's AI and what isn't AI, because those
yeah.
examples can be sort of littered through my conversations with Claude, where it's telling to maybe restructure a sentence or all those kind of things. So you just go,
Right.
at what point does it stop being you and start being the AI tool? And
Mm.
I don't think you and I are going to find
Yeah.
an answer to that, and we've kind of gone off on a tangent about that. But when it comes to this content idea, we've got all these companies producing this stuff where you just go, these are really gray areas. Is this the content? Is this the company talking to us, or is this the AI talking to us, or is this the marketing manager's
Yep.
idea converted into AI? There's so much
Yep.
ambiguity in this space at the moment that it's really hard to
Yep.
it's really hard to understand.
I agree. I agree totally. I just think that, marketers, business leaders who are, in charge of content, that it comes back to what are they hoping to achieve? Are
Mm,
they solving a problem? Um, is it meaningful? Is it human centered? Because
yeah.
when those things aren't present, it doesn't mean much.
Mm. Mm. I totally agree. So let's ask a couple of other questions, because you've talked about ROI, and I want to touch on ROI in a minute. But before you do that, one of the other challenges that we've got, and I think one of the other reasons for this explosion of content, is there are so many channels now competing for attention, and I feel that
Mm.
that's always been a thing. There's always so many channels, but when you look 15 years ago, you were going, oh, it's Instagram and it's Facebook, and that's what you had to worry about. But now you've got
Mhm,
this
mhm.
short form videos, you've got podcasts, you've got newsletters, you've got LinkedIn, you've got all the other social media channels. You've got all the streaming services as well. How does a marketer decide where they should be actually concentrating their effort?
I always go back to where is your ideal client,
Mm,
and there could be across multiple channels, but where do they mostly hang out? Where are they researching? Where are they kind of sitting and consuming content the most? Where's the biggest opportunity for your business? So in any of my strategies, I could say, yeah, you could be all across all these different channels, but ultimately, what's going to, if we focus on one or two and go hard on those, you're going to
mm,
make the most impact, right? Like you
mm,
can be stretched because again, it's the type of content, which is it short form? Is it
Mm.
written? Is it video? What is it? So it's all about making sure that it's manageable also for teams.
It's
Um,
I think the other challenge, I throw that one back at you as well now, not that I'm gonna argue with everything you say today, but, it makes for better content anyway. Um, my question to you with this is that I then feel that back in the day, so let's say 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you could really define those channels and those, content channels around some level of kind of demographic, right? You'd sit there and go, like
yeah.
Snapchat.
Yep.
Snapchat, I feel, still has its own demographic. That's largely teenagers
Correct.
and those kind of things, right? But
Yes. Yeah.
you look at the channels today, and you just go, my God, they are fractured by demographics, and they're fractured by
Yeah. Yep.
content. It's hugely
Yeah.
varied in terms of the content that you find on these channels.
Yep.
How
Yep.
do they deal with that? Because it's hard going, oh, where am I going to find 35-year-old men who want to buy a car? I mean, where the fuck do you find them now? It's like, you know, there is no channel for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is when it comes back to what's the strategy? What's the message?
Mm,
What is the campaign? And being really targeted. And it's the test and learn, optimize that I
mm,
talk about all the time with my clients as well. Like, there's a starting point. If things aren't working, then we adjust and then
yeah,
we go from there. But is what you're saying or selling compelling to that particular audience? And,
yeah.
you know, creating some amazing content is the starting point.
Is from a ROI perspective, is it as simple as going, I spent this much money, we did this, how many views did we get? How many, my dog's about to bark now just to ruin the entire recording because the postman's rocked up. Anyway, um, but is it as simple as counting, I've sold this many widgets because I did this much thing? Is there other ways of sort of measuring return on these things?
But isn't that the biggest thing that you can focus on though? Because isn't that the point of, if you're getting a certain number of sales and you're achieving ROI, isn't that the point? Like, why else are we doing content apart from
Because
building brand and
because I find, isn't it, wouldn't it consider it a hard, it's hard to draw a line between, hey, I posted something on Instagram and it did this. I mean, that in an ideal
Mhm,
world, that would be the case, but you've got brand
mhm, mhm.
awareness, you've got lots of
Yeah.
other
Yep.
lots of other benefits of being on social media.
Yep.
I often turn around to
Yep.
people and say, hey, social media is often is just social proof. Like, you run an advert somewhere,
Yeah.
you put a billboard on a or a back end of a bus.
Mhm,
Someone
mhm, mhm,
goes then to your
mhm.
Instagram and goes, oh wow, these guys are really active. They then click on the link through
Yep.
to your website. They then pick up the phone and fucking call you. They've seen you four
Yep.
times all the way
Mhm.
through, and then you
Yep.
just turn around and say, where did you find out about us? And they'll go, oh, I just called you. They don't equate to this, hey, I saw you on the back of
Yeah.
a bus. So you've got this attribution
Mhm, mhm,
problem.
mhm,
So how
mhm,
does
mhm.
content, how do you solve that question when it comes to, when you think about attribution? It's so kind of, it's so muddy.
It, yeah, I agree. It's messy, and that's like, attribution is the hardest thing for marketers to gather all that data and understand. I mean,
Mm.
I'm working really closely with one client at the moment, and we've been working on this for probably 12 to 24 months. And there's systems issues. It's a challenge. It's an absolute challenge.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at the data on a monthly basis, you'll get to understand what is working and what's not across whatever channel you're focusing on, essentially. So, but I agree with you. You have to have,
Mm.
that social proof, use certain channels, for when people are going through that decision-making process. They're going to be checking, well, what are they posting on
Mm.
LinkedIn, and then going to the website and making a decision. So
Yeah.
Absolutely. But again, I think this is a different conversation around, what channels the best for, growth, or what activities are best for specific, growth goals.
Yeah.
But I think there's absolutely importance on having, a certain, using certain channels for content. Um, but I think sometimes making some traction across that space is you've got to add an ads campaign on top of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Look, last question, and just if everyone, for everyone's benefit, these 5 questions I had here were all done by Claude. So I just, that's from a content perspective.
Hey, I
I'm
gave you that first idea. That
I'm
was
ex-
my,
yeah, I know the
that
first.
was
Yeah,
me.
sorry, no. The following 5 were done by the other 5 were done by Claude. So and that's to me my argument is I often go, if I had more time, I would be able to produce what Claude is producing. To me, content is about um, a reduction of time or an increase in
Hmm.
efficiencies, however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
So I sit there and go, the 5 questions that I came up with or that Claude came up with were based on me giving Claude a 3-sentence, 4-sentence brief. I could have done those questions, right? There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But I've
Yeah.
saved myself 10 minutes, 15 minutes thinking those up, right? Um, so
Yes.
that to me is the benefit, and that's how I think we should be looking at content. Could have I
Yes.
produced
Yes.
this with 1,000 monkeys at typewriters? Yes, absolutely, right. But
Hmm.
I've done it
Hmm.
quicker and more efficiently using this large
Yeah.
language learning model.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that there's something to say about, looking at your current workflow and going, right, how can we optimize or,
mm,
move through these things a lot faster using AI? Without a
yeah,
doubt. Again, I
yeah,
talk to my clients about that all the time. You can achieve so much more when you're, looking at it that way,
yeah,
without a doubt.
yeah. Look,
Hmm.
the last question then actually is quite an interesting one based on what we've just said there. It's the sustainability question, because keeping up with content demand is this is Claude's, these are Claude's words, not mine. So judge however you like. Um, Keeping
Hmm.
up with content demand is genuinely exhausting for marketing teams. What does a sustainable content operation actually look like? And what does a burnt out one look like before it collapses?
Okay. Again, I think it works. You've got to look at current resources
Mm,
and what are their capabilities or skill set, right? Um, do you have any kind of existing process around your marketing function? If you don't, that is the place to start. Uh, you know, when I've delivered a strategy to a new client, I give them those frameworks because they don't know.
yeah.
So I think we have to guide, business leaders and marketing teams there to go, right, this is a sustainable framework. Like
Mm,
I've got a framework that I use for my business, but also for my client's business. And it's again about doing things smarter, not harder.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
creating one piece of hero content and then repurposing it, pull bits out of it and
Mm,
use that across your socials, your email marketing,
mm,
whatever it may be. So I think that it's about creating those frameworks first and foremost to
mm.
ensure that it is achievable, sustainable for the business.
Yeah.
Um, and that's
What is
and
it
that's
like?
really what it's about. And also, like, oh, sorry, you go.
No, go on, you go.
Oh, I was just going to say, and just stick to it for God's sake,
Yeah.
because it's that shiny object syndrome thing, right?
Mm,
Because they'll go, right, well, we've got this in flow. We can
mm,
introduce something else now. And yeah,
mm.
and sure you could, but like get some momentum happening, get some results happening before you introduce the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah. What does it look like when it's about to collapse was the second half of that question. What's a red flag? Just one red flag that you see where you just go, yeah, this is not sustainable, or it's about to fall apart, or what do you
Okay.
see?
Look, I think when content is falling flat,
Yeah.
like, if you're looking at the data, like, and you're going, well, gosh, we're doing a lot here, but we don't really, we're not really seeing any results here.
Mm.
And I think the other part is just what I just said, which is, people going, oh, you can do all this. Oh, like, surely you can do more, push more onto the marketing team, or whoever's doing the
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I see.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the interesting thing I think you said there as well is where it's about repurposing content. You don't necessarily
Mm.
it's the whole shitty management phrase, work smarter, not harder, right? And an example of
Yeah.
that will be Wednesday morning. I'm going to do a podcast on my own. Um,
Hmm.
just talk for 20 minutes because I love the sound of my own voice. I don't.
Mm.
But I'm going to talk for 20 minutes about how to price yourself, right?
Right.
And
Hmm.
I could do that with you. I could do that with Tommy. I could do that with Josh, right? I could do that with different people. But again,
Yep.
I'm just gonna sort through my thoughts in terms of all the reasons and ways of pricing yourself as a consultant that I've heard over the years, and I've fucking heard a lot of them, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
just do that
Yeah.
and go, okay, well, there's 5 different ways of pricing yourself, and here are the 5 ways, and none of them are right, none of them are wrong. It's what suits you in the particular time and the space that you're in at that, at that moment, right? But I'll record that,
Right.
and that will go on to our podcast channel. It'll then go into YouTube.
Right.
I'll share it through LinkedIn. I will then get it
Yeah.
transcribed. I'll create a blog
Hmm.
for it, but also more importantly, I will then take it to. We've got an ebook about things that you've got to do before you become um, a fractional CMO. I will add that as a new section within the ebook and re-add the ebook back to the download page so people can have it for free, etc., etc. So just in that, what I think is probably going to be a 20 minutes of my time, 20 minutes of my time, we are repurposing maybe 7 or 8 different things for 4 or 5
Hmm.
different channels. And that,
Yep.
I think, is where businesses need to go, okay, we don't need to create that separately for every channel. We just need to do it once and repurpose it.
Absolutely. It's a very smart way of doing it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of businesses don't quite get that yet.
No, because I think they're stuck on, well, what should we put out? And
Yeah.
why, like, what are we putting out? Why are we putting it out? Like, that's, it's the, yeah, they don't know how to do a
Yeah.
lot of that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Your last
yeah.
tip for you from today. Obviously there's a lot in what you've said today. There's a lot of
Hmm.
I think everything you said around process, measuring, etc., all of those really, really good things. Is there anything else that you feel we haven't touched on when it comes to that content side of things? I know we've kind of gone off on uh, a
Few
few
tangents.
tangents, but that's we do that every time we have a conversation, so that's not to be
Yeah.
unexpected. Anything else that you feel that there's something that you can say to other businesses who are sitting staring in the abyss of a content execution plan?
Yeah, look, I think that um, some businesses just get into a rhythm of just putting stuff out and not having the strategy behind it. Because there's a lot of people going, oh gosh, I don't know what to put out this week or next week. Or, what's a topic that's going to resonate with my ideal client or audience? But if you have a solid strategy to begin with,
Mm,
that's all in there.
yeah,
The frameworks as well can be put into that. How do we
yeah,
do this? Like, what is the content that we're putting out, and for what purpose? Who are we speaking to? What are the
mm,
sort of results do we want to get from this? So the strategy is like a very solid starting point
mm,
for your business, and
mm,
then you can go, right, well, we shouldn't divert from that then. Test that out for at
yeah,
least 90 days. Are you executing it well? Are you, getting the content out at a high standard? Um, it's not content for the sake of content. It's being really intentional about it. So that is where I would just, divert your attention to that
I'm going to
side
argue
of
with
it.
you on that as well, right? Because
Of course you are.
why?
Why?
Why must he always argue with everybody? Why must he do this? It's one of those that I've become very much more self-aware in the past 10 years about what a pain in the arse I can be. But it's like that the interesting thing is that doesn't stop me being a pain in the arse. It just means that I'm more aware of me being
No.
a pain in the arse. And no, but this is a serious no. I think there is I think everything you've said is absolutely 100% true and valid and all that. And I don't want anyone to think that what you're saying is not right, because it is absolutely right. I would also kind of say to businesses, it's okay just to start doing something without a plan, right?
Sure.
I think if
Mhm.
you are sitting there going, I just want to do something, is spend 3 months just producing anything and find your sweet spot, find what's good for you, find a rhythm, find a channel, find a medium. If it's blogging, it's blogging. If it's taking photos, it's taking photos. If it's I tried doing illustrations once for 2 cents, like comic strips, like fun comic strips, and I was like, I like doing these, but are they going to get any cut through, but fuck it, let's give it a go, and let's try these things out. So I would say yes, have a plan. Yes, understand your target market. Yes, all those kind of things. Sometimes just fucking do something. It's something that you'll go, hey, let's just experiment with this. Is that a fair counter argument to what you said?
I suppose. Look, I don't disagree in the sense that, if you're feeling creative and you want to put something out there, yeah, do that, but just have a purpose. It has to relate to your business. I've seen so much content put out and I go, what does this business even do?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah.
So be creative, absolutely
Yes.
test it out, put it out there, but bring it back to, well, why are you doing it? Like,
Yeah.
make sure there's a purpose behind
It
it.
yeah, it's funny because a couple of 6 months ago, I was sitting with some friends of mine who I play poker with once every 2 months, once every 3 months, right? And I said to them, I want to play some board games. I want to play some big board games. That's why there's loads of board games on the wall behind me, right? Ones that take 3 hours, whatever. And I said, let's just put a post somewhere. Let's see who we can find, who else wants to do this.
Mhm.
And I put a post out there. I said, hey, we all want to go down to the pub and play some board games. Is anyone interested in doing this on a Friday night? And I tell this story a lot because I thought I might get 5 or 6 people. I'd have been happy with 5 or 6 people, right? That Friday night we had 25 people turn up, and we're like,
Wow.
okay, shit. I then posted all the photos of those 25 people drinking beer and playing board games at our local pub.
Yep.
And I posted them in a Facebook group, a 4069 group, right, for my postcode. And I said, hey, if anyone else is interested in doing this again, because we had a great time, I've got a little WhatsApp group. Join the WhatsApp group. We have 220 people in that WhatsApp group now.
You had purpose and it's human-centered.
No, okay, all right. You've countered me with that argument. But my point was, okay. So then I sat there and went, and out of that group, then a guy says, hey, I want you to come and do this in another suburb. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I can't. He goes, I've got a venue that you can use in another suburb. And I'm like, and I'll give it to you for free. So to your point, sometimes I think what we're getting at here is when it comes to content, purpose and being human-centered, those two things, there has to be a tick in those 2 boxes, right? There has to be a tick in purpose. There has to be a tick in human-centered. Strategy, long-term objectives, fuck that for the minute, right? You can work that out as you go, right? You can.
No.
Yes, you can.
You can, but don't go on for 12 months like that.
No, okay, okay. All right, we're compromised. I don't know. I think there's some things you could go on for 12 months ago. I still don't know why I'm doing this. I still don't know the long-term objective. Look, in businesses, it's much more serious. We've got to talk about, there's money
Yes.
involved here.
Yes.
You need to
Yes.
make
And
money. All
time.
those kind of, there's time, there's money, there's
Yeah.
people involved. If you
Yeah.
have got that flexibility, I don't think I don't think there's you've got if you've got that flexibility, you've got a little bit more leeway around time and and all those kind of things. So I just don't want I do understand everything you say, but I just don't want everyone to get caught up in the thing where they go, you know, Kristy says I've got to be planned and we've got to be doing this and this thing, unless we do this. And that's unfair me suggesting that it's all your fault. But
Oh my God.
no, but my point is, I think there is a balance between balance between actively planning and sometimes just doing something and seeing what happens and seeing how it resonates with
Yeah.
your market and your target market and those things.
Yeah. I just think having that strategy and the plan gives you more confidence ultimately, right? Like it gives you direction. And so, yeah, absolutely have and you can play within that plan,
Mm,
you can test the waters, but just have a structure,
yeah.
like go, right, I'm going to post this every month. Okay, have some fun with the type of content.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But just because if you all over the place with it, you're just not going to ultimately achieve anything.
Maybe this is intrinsically the different personalities between you and I.
I was
And
just going to say that. I'm planned and organized mostly, and you're a little looser.
we always joke in the
And this is
business
where I
that,
have to pull you up from time to
yeah,
time.
but this is where we joke in the business, is that we always sort of made the comparison between, like, it was the Starship Enterprise, whereas I'm Captain Kirk and Matt was like Scotty in the engine room, right? So Scotty in the engine room is,
Yeah.
no, we can't do that, Captain. It's going to take 6 hours and all this kind of thing. And Captain
Mhm.
Kirk's going, let's
Mhm.
land on this planet, let's meet these aliens, let's do all these kind of things. And it's that sort of, you know somehow those things work together, and and I think a lot of
Mm.
good businesses have that balance between somebody who's
Yeah.
not necessarily the handbrake, but someone who's holding the reins, knows when to sort of pull back sometimes. But if you don't have a
Yeah.
business where someone's going, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, it can be very slow. They can be very, very slow to evolve or grow and those kind of things,
Yeah.
unless there's
Yeah.
someone
Yep.
throwing those ridiculous ideas out there every now and again. So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a balance. Got to
mm,
find the balance if
anyway,
that's possible.
what was supposed to be a 20-minute conversation has turned into a 42-minute conversation. So, whether anyone will listen to any of this whatsoever, I don't know, but hopefully we get some good blog and some snippets out of it as well. So, look,
Yes,
thank you
absolutely.
very much for your time. Where can people find you if they need to find you, other than the Cemoh website, which they can obviously find you on that?
Yeah, definitely look me up on LinkedIn, Kristy Hunter, fractional marketing officer and marketing advisor. And I'm also at huntermarketing.co on my
Cool.
website.
Thank you very much for your time. It is always fantastic having an argument with you, and
Yeah,
appreciate your time.
it's my pleasure. Thanks,
Talk to you
Simon.
later.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye.